I'm Tim. This is my wife, Carrie. And I joined ECC when we were still in Kowloon. And so I was part of the group of X number of people that moved across the harbor about 25 years ago.
And I moved to Hong Kong about 18 years ago. We were married shortly after I moved here. And we have 3 sons, and they all were born and raised at Island ECC. 1 month after Joshua was born, we brought him to the nursery, dropped him off with his car seat, a pacifier, and a bottle of milk.
And spare diapers.
They were not used.
For us as parents, we were first-time parents. Joshua was born, and we're kind of like, well, how do we do church now? There's somebody else we have to take care of. It's not just getting the 2 of us out of the door. And how do we did it was basically being able to take full advantage of the volunteers, right? They were going to be there to care for Joshua, and we could actually go to the service.
Over the years, we've really benefited from all the resources that Island ECC had, like the Kids Club had for parents. I think when we moved to the Orange Ministry, there were all kinds of pamphlets and videos that talked about your child from 0 to 1 years old, from 2 to 3 years old, for every phase. And I think the most important thing is, how do we get our children to love Jesus? That's been the most impactful part for us. It's the reason we are at Island ECC, really, is, of course, for our own spiritual growth, but to make sure that we are doing what God asked us to do, which is to train up our children. In recent years, what has been so valuable to us has been that the church has moved with our children. There's a ministry for every phase that they're in. As they get older, they start questioning things, right? And they start thinking for themselves. And Island ECC has youth, Island Youth, for adults to walk alongside our teenagers. The church even thought about, okay, 6th graders are a little bit young for youth. They don't quite fit in, but they're a little bit too old for Sunday school. They're getting a little bit bored. So the church created a preteen ministry for grades 5 to 6, which our youngest child, James, had the opportunity to be in. And it was perfect. It was a perfect ministry. The fact that the church thinks about every segment of our community, our congregations, and thinks about ways to meet their needs is so incredible. And we're so thankful for that.
When we first came to the Hong Kong side, right, as Island ECC, we were nomadic. Right, and every week it was, the good old days. It was a newspaper ad or an email that told us where we would be. That made it really difficult for the church to offer any real programming for the church members and the broader community. It was near impossible. And so even moving to 633, it was a permanent space in the sense that we didn't have to set up and take down and set up and take down. And that already gave the church the ability to provide a space for the community. And I looked at the kids as well to say the youth ministry having the space and having a place to be, it allowed it to really touch a lot more lives.
Yeah, we believe that, you are who you surround yourself with is really important. And so having a community for our boys and our family to grow up with people who with the similar values is really important. And then from there, inviting friends, right? So doing that evangelism and having the space to be hospitable, to run events. Our kids love to invite their friends to the youth camp or to sports fellowship or, things that will attract people to learn who we are. We want to be inviting. And so having a space and the resources to do that is so important.
One of my hopes for Island in this new location is going to be that the space provides the means to provide all kinds of programming, both during a Sunday, but also during a weekday. I remember each opportunity opened up as each floor was opened up, right? We went from, a couple of floors to many floors in 633. And the same thing here. I mean, you're kind of given a blank slate and a wide open space and saying, what can we do for God in Hong Kong? Where are the needs? And before it was trading one for the other. I mean, I know that even when the preteen ministry was put together, it was kind of like, where do we put them? And how do we shift some of the kids around and so that we would have space for this ministry? So I think that this is a wonderful time, with the space that the church has now, is to say, what do we want to do for God in this city? And, we are kind of walking witnesses to the city of Hong Kong. As a church, we've been at 633 long enough that if you get into a taxi and you say 633 Kings Road, right? And the first question is, are you going to church? Right? People know that there's a church there, even though there's no signage on the outside. How much more amazing would it be that we have a permanent location with the signage outside and really be a true beacon in North Point and beyond?